Apex Mining Company, Incorporated, is a Philippine-owned gold and silver mining company. It was incorporated in 1970 and listed on the Philippine Stock Exchange, PSE, in 1974. The company's main asset is the Maco gold mine in Maco, Davao de Oro, formerly Compostela Valley, in Mindanao. Apex extracts gold and silver ore from Maco, processes it into bullion bars, and sells them on global markets. All gold and silver production from Maco and from its Benguet site is sold to an international refiner, Heraeus Limited. Apex has grown through acquisitions and subsidiaries. In 2014, it acquired Monte Oro Resources and Energy, Paracale Gold Area in Camarines Norte. It also owns Ida Gonsiak Resources Incorporated, ISRI, which operates the Sangilo and Suyak gold mines in Benguet. In 2023, it spun off Asia Alliance Mining Resources for the Amacan Gold-Copper Project. Under the Razan family leadership, since 2014, Apex has invested in new equipment and rehabilitation, increasing its gold output even as it supports local communities. Apex has deep roots in Philippine mining history. Its operations trace back to the 1930s as Iho Gold Mines, and it has weathered industry challenges and policy shifts. For example, after a government ban closed many mines in 2016, Apex remained the only public-listed mining company in Compostela Valley, Davao de Oro, underscoring its established presence. The Philippines is one of the world's most richly mineralized countries. It ranks fifth globally with an estimated $1 trillion in untapped copper, gold, nickel, zinc, and silver reserves. According to the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, MGB, there were about 59 operating metallic mines in the Philippines in 2024, including 12 gold mines. In 2023, Philippine mineral exports totaled about $7.32 billion, led by gold, nickel, ore, and copper. Gold production itself was around 31,046 kilograms, 31 tons, in 2023, with a value of 106.53 billion pesos. The mining industry is politically sensitive and highly regulated. In 2017, an anti-mining administration banned open-pit mining due to environmental concerns, but in late 2021 the ban was lifted to stimulate investment. New projects must secure permits, community consent, and meet strict environmental requirements. Mining companies often commit significant budgets to social development and rehabilitation programs. On the global side, gold has been in a bull market. In 2024, gold prices hit record highs. The average LBMA/PM price was about $2,386 per ounce, a 23% rise from 2023. Investors and central banks piled into gold amid economic uncertainty. For example, world gold demand, jewelry, investment, and central bank purchases reached a record 4,974 tons in 2024. Strong gold prices, often above $4,000 to $4,200 per ounce recently, generally boost revenues for gold miners like Apex. Broadly, a Philippine gold miner like Apex benefits when global gold prices rise and when the local economy encourages mining investment. However, it also faces sector challenges such as environmental regulation, permitting, and price swings in commodities, nickel, coal, etc., that affect sentiment toward mining stocks. Apex's business model is straightforward. It extracts gold and silver ore from its mines, processes the ore at its mill to produce refined bullion, bars, and sells these metals at market prices. Its revenue comes mainly from the sale of gold and silver bullion. If needed, byproducts like copper or zinc are also sold, but gold and silver are the core. The company incurs costs in mining, equipment, labor, fuel, and processing. When commodity prices rise, Apex earns higher revenue per ounce of metal sold. Conversely, if gold prices fall, revenue falls unless production costs also drop. Apex's key operation is the Maco gold mine, which in 2024 produced 899,002 tons of or at a grade of 3.61 grams of gold per ton. It also benefited from its smaller Singilo mine in Benguet, 148,021 tons at 3.10 grams per ton in 2024. These mines feed into the mill that produces gold and silver bars. For example, in the first half of 2025, Apex sold 51,436 ounces of gold and 197,925 ounces of silver. 1 ounce equals 31.1 grams, and global gold is priced per ounce. What sets Apex apart from many peers is its combination of strong grades and recent growth investments. Its Mako or grades are relatively high, over 4 grams per ton historically, compared to some other mines, meaning more gold per ton of rock. The Razan-led management has extended the mine's life. A 2025 technical report estimates ore reserves of 9.90 million tons at 4.18 grams per ton, a 72% increase in reserves since 2021. This extension implies at least a decade more mine life at current production rates, providing growth visibility. In contrast, many gold deposits decline in reserves and may require new exploration or mergers. Apex is also unique in its local context. It is one of few major Filipino-owned gold companies, the only listed miner in its home province after 2016. Its socially responsible approach, housing for miners, community projects, emergency response, helps maintain its social license to operate. The company does not rely on external funding for most of its projects. It uses internal cash flow and funds like Asia Alliance, its new subsidiary, which keeps its financial risk moderate. These factors, good or grades, increasing reserves, local partnerships, contribute to Apex's business strength. Apex Mining's financial results have been strong and growing recently. In full year 2024, Apex reported consolidated revenues of about 15.14 billion pesos, a roughly 25% increase from 12.08 billion pesos in 2023. Net income was 4.33 billion pesos in 2024, 27% higher than the 3.41 billion pesos in 2023. In other words, Apex's profit margin, net income divided by revenue, improved modestly. Its gross profit in 2024 was 8.32 billion pesos, yielding a gross margin of about 55%. These figures benefited from both higher volume and much higher realized gold prices, averaging about $2,436 per ounce in 2024. For 2025, the half-year and quarterly performance has been even stronger due to a surge in gold prices. In the first half of 2025, Apex's attributable net income was roughly 3.20 billion pesos, up 69.5% from 1.89 billion pesos a year earlier. Revenue in that period was 9.5 billion pesos, up 36.9% from 6.94 billion pesos in first half of 2024. The second quarter of 2025 alone saw net income of 1.71 billion pesos, 67% higher than Q2 2024, and revenue of 5.0 billion pesos. These gains were driven by much higher gold prices, realized price of $3,132 per ounce in first half 2025 versus $2,264 per ounce in first half 2024, and higher production volume. For example, in first half 2025, Apex sold 51,436 ounces of gold and 197,925 ounces of silver, all coming from its Mako and Sangilo operations. To put these numbers in perspective, Apex's profitability metrics are robust. Its return on equity, ROE, was about 18.6% and return on investment, ROI, about 24.4%. The company has a solid balance sheet. As of 2024, total assets were 32.09 billion pesos, with debt of 10.33 billion pesos, debt to equity around 39%. These financial results show Apex turning strong cash flow from gold sales, which it uses to reinvest in the mines and pay dividends. Mine life extension. A key update is that Apex's recent technical studies have expanded its mineral reserves and extended mine life. In early 2025, Apex announced reserves of 9.90 million tons at 4.18 grams per ton gold. Compared to previous reports, this represents a 72% increase in reserves. The technical report concluded that at current production rates, Mako Mine's life is extended by at least 10 more years. In practical terms, this means Apex can plan long-term investment and operations rather than worrying about depleting or new projects and acquisitions. Apex is also preparing for future growth through new projects. Its recently incorporated subsidiary Asia Alliance Mining Resources is developing the Amacan gold-copper project, Cameron's Norte. Preliminary studies suggest Amacan has potential reserves, and the company has begun environmental baseline studies and the free, prior, and informed consent (FPIC) process with local communities. Another subsidiary, Paracale Gold Limited, through Monte Oro, has obtained permits for small-scale mining near Mambuleyo after getting an environmental certificate in 2024. These projects diversify Apex's pipeline beyond Mako and Sangilo. Mako landslide response. In February 2024, a tragic landslide struck Barangay Masera in Mako, Davao de Oro. This landslide occurred on Apex's mining concession area after heavy rain, killing at least 98 people and burying several buses of workers. The disaster impacted the Mako mine. Operations were limited for several months as the company assisted with rescue, recovery, and community support. For example, Apex operated at reduced levels for about 5 months to help victims' families and stabilize the site. The company also completed slope mitigation work across its tenement and continues to provide housing aid and subsidies to affected employees. By mid-2024, mining and milling had resumed, and Apex was able to catch up on production targets. In summary, Apex's strategy is to invest in its assets, new equipment, exploration, safety, while responsibly managing social and environmental risks. It cooperated with the government to define no-build zones after the landslide, and it has ongoing community development programs. These efforts help secure its license to operate, even as it pursues growth projects like Amacan and explores small-scale mining in Paracale. Let's now take a look at the latest stock price update for Apex Mining Company. As of late October 2025, Apex Mining's share price sits at around 8 to 10 pesos per share. Over the past year, Apex's stock has moved within a broad range, from a 52-week low of around 3 pesos and 16 centavos to a 52-week high of about 11 pesos and 78 centavos. This wide trading range tells us that Apex has already gone through a major rally in recent months, as investors priced in its stronger earnings performance and better production numbers. For longtime followers of Apex, this growth represents a strong turnaround story. The company has steadily rebuilt investor confidence, supported by higher gold prices and continuous improvements in its operations. From being a relatively quiet mining stock just a few years ago, Apex is now viewed as one of the more active and closely watched players on the exchange. In terms of valuation, Apex currently trades at roughly 9 times its trailing 12-month earnings, based on the most recent financial results. That figure is still considered low by market standards, meaning the stock could be viewed as fairly valued or slightly undervalued, depending on how earnings continue to perform in the next quarters. The company's dividend yield is about 1.53%, which is not large, but it's a positive signal. It means Apex is not only generating consistent cash flow from its mining operations, but also returning a small portion of profits to shareholders. This adds a touch of stability to what is typically a volatile industry. As for price behavior, Apex's stock has shown steady momentum through most of 2025. After recovering from its earlier lows, it has now entered what analysts describe as a consolidation phase, trading steadily between 9 pesos and 10 pesos. This pattern suggests that investors are taking a breather observing how the company's next earnings reports will influence its long-term direction. It's also worth noting that Apex's trading volume has remained active, which reflects continued investor interest. Even though some short-term traders have taken profits after the rally, there's still a strong base of investors holding onto their shares, likely anticipating further gains if gold prices stay elevated. At this stage, the key takeaway is that Apex Mining remains financially solid and fundamentally stable. Its share price may not be soaring at the moment, but this period of steady consolidation could actually be a healthy sign, a moment of balance between optimism and caution among investors. Reasons to buy Apex Mining. Strong growth potential. Apex is expanding its reserve base and extending mine life, which underpins future production. New projects like Amacan, Gold Copper, and Paracale small-scale mining could add volume. Historically, recent investments have translated into higher output. For instance, Mako's gold production set new records in 2024. If gold prices remain high or rise further, Apex's revenue will grow faster. Favorable gold market. Gold's price is very strong, and analysts expect it to stay elevated. Central banks and investors are buying gold as a safe haven, pushing prices to record highs in 2024. A rising gold price directly increases Apex's earnings. Each ounce sold fetched about $3,132 in first half 2025. With inflation concerns and global uncertainty, gold demand and price may continue to support miners like Apex. Value metrics. At current prices, Apex's valuation is relatively attractive for an emerging gold miner. Its price-to-earnings ratio is around 10 to 11. By comparison, many developed market miners trade at higher multiples. Apex also has high profitability, ROE of around 18.6%. If gold prices normalize or volume slows, the stock may still have a margin of safety. Dividend income. Apex does pay dividends, although modestly. Historically, it has distributed a portion of profits as cash dividends. The forward dividend yield is around 0.7%, which is lower than some peers but still a payout. Dividend-paying stocks can be attractive for investors seeking income plus growth. Macro tailwinds. The Philippine government is now actively encouraging mining investments after lifting previous bans. Apex is well-positioned as one of the largest gold miners in the country. If the overall mining industry expands, new permits, better infrastructure, power, etc., Apex could benefit. Also, should regional tensions or supply constraints drive gold demand, Apex would likely gain. Taken together, these factors, strong current performance, growth investments, and a bullish gold outlook, provide reasons an investor might buy or add to a position in Apex Mining. Reasons to hold. Stability and track record. Apex has a 50-year history in mining and demonstrated resilience through crises, such as the 2024 landslide, past industry downturns. It has consistently increased profitability in recent years. For a long-term investor who believes in gold's fundamentals, the company's stability and improving operations can justify holding the stock. Dividends and cash flow. Even though the yield is modest, around 1%, the fact that Apex pays a reliable dividend each year can be a reason to hold, especially if one prefers income-generating stocks. The company's strong free cash flow from high gold prices supports these payouts. Long-term resource play. With a decade more mine life at Mako and development projects in the pipeline, Apex represents a long-term gold play in the Philippines. If an investor's outlook on gold is bullish over the next 5 to 10 years, it could make sense to hold onto APX and benefit from both resource growth and potential price appreciation. Portfolio diversification. If an investor already owns gold or mining positions, Apex adds geographic and commodity diversification. It is a Philippine company, and it focuses on gold, not coal or nickel. For some portfolios, this diversification merits holding the shares. Management and ownership continuity. Apex's core management team has guided strong performance and handled the 2024 crisis competently. If shareholders trust the current leadership's plan, reserve drilling, community programs, new projects, they may choose to hold rather than sell under short-term market moves. Overall, a long-term investor who sees continued benefits, such as stable revenues, steady dividends, and exposure to gold, may decide to hold Apex shares and ride out volatility. Reasons to sell. Valuation concerns. After the recent rally, full-year profits up 28% in 2024 and first-half 2025 results even stronger. The stock price may have run up. If the market has fully priced in high gold prices and rising output, there might be limited upside. Some investors may prefer to take profits rather than risk a correction if expectations disappoint. Commodity risk. Gold prices can be volatile. If the global economy improves or central banks reverse policies, gold could retreat from its peaks. Since Apex's earnings are heavily tied to gold prices, a sustained drop in gold, say back to $1,800 to $2,000 per ounce, would hurt revenue and profit, making the stock less attractive. Environmental and social risks. Mining in the Philippines has environmental controversies. Although the government lifted past restrictions, there is still public concern, such as activists' call for limiting mining. Any future accident, landslide, or new regulation could disrupt Apex's operations or increase costs. Investors wary of ESG, environment, social, governance issues might decide to sell mining stocks, including APX, in favor of cleaner investments. Comparative opportunities. Retail investors might find better alternatives elsewhere. For example, some other PSE-listed miners offer higher dividend yields or stronger fundamentals. If an investor believes another company has superior risk-reward, they may sell APX to reallocate. Corporate or liquidity events. Apex is still a relatively small stock, market cap around 64.6 billion pesos. Its share liquidity is lower than larger companies. In a market downturn, smaller shares often fall more. Some investors may avoid these liquidity and market cap risks by selling. No guarantees of future growth. Past growth trends may not continue indefinitely. The land and mine might require heavy reinvestment down the line. Small negative surprises, such as lower grade or rising costs, could change profit outlook. An investor worried about any such risks might decide to sell on cautious grounds. In summary, reasons to sell include risk of gold price decline, environmental regulatory uncertainties, or simply having a stronger conviction in other opportunities. Each investor must weigh these factors against the buying reasons above. In conclusion, Apex Mining Company, Inc. is a Philippine gold mining company with a long history and recent strong financial performance. Its strategy of improving operations and extending reserves has paid off. Profits rose 28% in 2024 and accelerated in 2025. The company stands to benefit from continued strong gold prices and expanded production capacity. Key factors to watch include gold market trends, mine production rates, and any new industry regulations in the Philippines. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you more deep dives into the Philippine stock market.